And
Let's
we're
go,
live.
let's go, let's go. Ba-da, ba-da. We are live, Michael.
Well, I'm where I usually am, sitting here in my chair. Where are you, Vinny?
I am not where I usually am. I am in the headquarters of Run to the Sun slash the Drive Revolution, which is a program that is put together by our trade association in Northwest Automotive Press Association that allows us, we gather up a whole bunch of cars in a parking lot, as you can see on screen number 3 there.
Yes.
Um, and we let people, people that belong to the association, drive them around here in Richfield, Washington. Which, Michael, you'll never believe this, is where U-Haul started.
The home of U-Haul.
The home of, well, it's not the present day home of U-Haul because U-Haul upped and moved to the desert a long time ago. They've been in Phoenix for years and years and years, but they this is where it started. A GI got a loan and bought a couple of trailers and started renting them to some other GIs that were coming back from the war. And there you go. You got yourself a business.
I remember I got a U-Haul truck once. I believe it was in Seattle. And it was, when you turned it on, the hot gauge would go all the way to H.
Ah,
But it wouldn't boil over or anything. It was just the gauge was wrong. But driving around with that thing, every time you look down, you see that sinking feeling in your stomach when you look at your gauge and it's all the way to H.
it's just
But
nothing but a big lie.
it was just a lie. And
Well,
it had a governor on it, which I don't know if they still do that.
yeah, they used to govern them. I remember my dad used to rent U-Hauls. Um, and they had governors for 55 miles an hour on them.
Yep.
And that's all you could go. Although, if you knew how you could break the governor, if you had a if you had
Yeah,
any kind of automotive knowledge at all, you could bypass that governor pretty quickly.
with a ball peen hammer or something more subtle.
No, you said there was a seal on it, and you just broke the seal, and they didn't check the seal every time. So you broke the seal. You got in there, and you prayed that you weren't the guy that got caught, because they would always blame the last person who had the truck.
Imagine that.
um, Problem was that in many cases you couldn't get, the um, ruining of the governor wouldn't have happened. Uh, Maybe 3 or 4 guys before that, or people that rented the truck before that. So somebody was going and renting a truck. They were blaming it on the last guy, and he didn't know anything about it. It was 3 or 4 guys that took the truck into the desert for a party or something like that, and that's how they get. That's how they justified it. But
Now, wonder why they took it off. Is it unsafe?
I don't know. You know what? I don't know that they've taken. Well, you don't need it these days. You can set. Most cars now come with what they call a youth option, and what it is really is just a monitoring system that says you can set the control at 55 or 65 or however fast you want to set it, and unless you have the code, you can't go over that.
Can you set the controls for the heart of the sun?
You can set the controls for anything you want, Michael. Will it get you there? Is usually the question that is asked by most people in their I don't know 40s to 60s.
I don't want to go to the heart of the sun. It's apparently a very hot place.
Well, why'd you bring it up?
It's a Pink Floyd title.
Yeah, but you must have had it deep in your mind, baby. You do want to go to the heart of the sun. I don't.
May-
I've got no interest. I mean, I'm dealing with enough um, problems with my skin and the non-use of SPF 70. It'll keep me busy for a while.
Pink Floyd sends their very best regards and hopes for full and total recovery.
Tell everybody in pink I said hello. Haven't seen him for many years. Um,
What car caught your eye this morning with the drive around that they've got going?
I drove my first Lucid. Are you familiar with the Lucid?
I've seen Lucids on the road.
Yeah, they have two Lucids here. One is a base model, and the other one is kind of a hopped up custom model.
Who makes Lucid?
Lucid,
Lucid makes
Canadian
Lucid.
company.
They don't have
Right.
a parent. They don't have a parent company like Toyota or
Lucid is their
something.
company.
Oh wow!
It's a brand new company. They're making cars in Southern California, I believe, and the Lucid Air Grand Touring, which is what I drove earlier, um, will set you back $137,500.
And would you think that would be a good buy, having driven it?
Well, I got to be honest with you. I liked the car. I thought it was. It's well designed. It's an appealing car. I don't know if I can do a close up with this
I-
camera, but
If you take it back to the dealership, there's probably only one, so you better find out where it is, right?
oh no, they're actually in many major. I mean, they're in all over the place. At least out here in the West Coast. They have their dealership is set up on at University Village,
Really?
so they're right down the block from Volvo. That's over there on 65th Street. If you look into the third panel right now, you'll see a $200,000 Mercedes
There it
that I had
goes.
the pleasure of driving yesterday. That particular Mercedes, maybe my luck is changing because I got into that thing. The minute I got into it, the sun came out. I put the top down. I'm bopping along with the top down I-5. As soon as I turn it around and I get back to the base here, which is in the parking lot of the Ilani Casino. We'll talk more about casino parking lots in just a minute. But as soon as I got back here, the sun went down, and we had to put the top back up again. So I consider myself, much like Gary Cooper, to be the luckiest man in the world today.
Way to go, Coop.
You know, a
By the
little,
way, after your goodbye speech, you still have to play first base today. Do you mind?
yeah. We were Mr. Rupert Knickerbocker would like you to play. Jake Rupert would like you to contribute. But there's some really fine other cars here besides the $137,000 Lucid. The Prius Prime has really caught my eye.
What is that?
That's a Toyota Prius.
It's just the latest idea of their four
It's
door.
it's more electrified. It is quicker than the normal Prius. It will run 60 miles, I think, on electric only, whereas your Priuses that don't plug in won't run on electric only, or they'll go like 5 miles or something like that. This thing has a 37 mile to 60 mile, depending on how you're using it. It has the capability to do that, which is, I think, really cool. I think that's a winner in today's electric car market.
How much does the charger
That's a
cost?
winner.
Do you know how much the charging unit costs?
The charger for the Prius,
Mm-hmm.
I think they're running around. I want to say that most of them running around $2,000
Wow.
plus installation. Um, if you That's a fast charger. Now you can charge it just by plugging it into your the outlet that has your dryer in it.
Really?
140 volts. So you'll have
Wow.
wet clothes and a hot Prius.
That's the future of America. Wet clothes and a hot Prius.
That certainly is the future of America. Wet clothes and a hot Prius. But
By the way, the over under on Bob Menendez is getting kind of ridiculous. I'm pulling my all bets are off. He's got to go.
yeah, he seems to want to fight it. I don't think anybody.
I know he wants to fight it or tell us that he kept all that cash because he was Cuban, but I don't think that's not going to stand in court.
Well, you know what? I'll even go with he kept the cash. What I have trouble going with is the whole idea that the gold bars.
That's just decorative display.
I mean, where did the gold bars come from?
You'll have to ask the Egyptians. Apparently, they've got lots of money to buy influence.
And who gives up gold bars to do a halal meat store in Newark?
Why don't they find Nefertiti's grave? That would be something that the Egyptians should be doing right now. Oh, it looks like Vinnie froze. Can you hear me, Vinnie? New York Vinnie and Michael Knight, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:10. But we're doing a remote today. Vinnie's in Richland, Oregon. I'm sorry, Richland, Washington, the home of U-Haul. And we don't appear to be connected at the moment. Let me put down my coffee.
There we go. We got
Oh, there you go.
Back. You went away and now you're back again.
Now you're back. Good job.
If you go away on this sunny day,
I will have to say,
yeah. So Mr. Menendez is, I don't know. Yeah, the whole gold bars thing is weird. He just doesn't. When you catch somebody once and they're stupid enough to do it again, it's always a sign that they're not.
It's not gonna get better. It's not gonna get better.
Yeah. You're not gonna. Mr. Menendez, Senator Menendez, did not seem to learn his lesson the first time out.
Funny thing about Menendez is he's not in his own mind. He's got influence because of his seniority and his chairmanships. But is he an important senator?
Well, I mean,
my impression is maybe not.
Well, New Jersey, he sits on a bunch of what is he on armed services and
foreign relations.
So I think
that's how he met the Egyptians.
Yeah, that alone would put him in that category of being an important senator. I think that as of this point, he's more trouble than he's worth because it's sounding less and less like anybody believes him and his story of putting the money and the Cuban story and the whole. I just don't think the people are buying it, Michael.
He hasn't explained the Mercedes yet either, which cost him around. No. Now we know the price of that Mercedes, about $200,000, I would think.
He hasn't explained, to be honest with you, and this is something I think you need an explanation on because the guy's wife is involved in it, is he hasn't explained those garish pair of pants that I don't know if you saw them that his wife was wearing with the holes cut in them.
I've never been a fan of garish clothing.
She is presented with a set of pants, a pair of pants that looked like that she got attacked by somebody with a pair of scissors.
Edward Scissorhands.
And, normally, you don't say anything. You just go, okay, the women's obviously making some bad fashion choices here. But just the whole thing with her just seems to get weirder instead of clearer.
Senator Fetterman from Pennsylvania, who was the first one to tell Menendez to resign, was on MSNBC yesterday, and he said the last time anybody in New Jersey had that much cash and gold in their home, it was Tony Soprano.
Yeah, everybody's come up with some interesting and quirky lines for this. And most of
Menendez can
them
get
involve
into
Soprano.
Menendez can get into consultancy for waste.
Well, he opened himself up to it, Michael, in the fact that the first thing he screamed on, what did he get caught on Monday?
Yeah.
Was it, or was it Friday, actually? I think it was Friday. But the first thing he opened his mouth and said is that they're doing this to me because I'm Hispanic. And that rubs me the wrong way.
Might even rub Hispanics the wrong way.
Yeah, because it cheapens the whole idea that of what pain and what rigmarole that Hispanic people have to go through to get anything in this country. And it's getting better for them, but then you have Menendez come along and everybody thinks now, well, the Cubans must be crooks.
Menendez just wants you to know that life is easier when you have gold. Lots of it.
Yeah. Well, it usually is, isn't it, Michael?
Depending on the amount, yes, it can be it can grow quite easy. Ease would be the word to describe your life.
Yeah. I think when you have a cachet of gold bars mixed up with $450,000 worth of cash, you're not worried about your check bouncing at Walmart.
To change the subject ever so slightly, Donald Trump's decision yesterday for fraud in the state of New York recommends that all of his companies be given over to a unit of individuals who sell off all they disillusion it. They dissolve the companies. They sell the furniture. They sell the wall paintings. They sell the pictures of Trump. They sell the entrance hall fake begonias. They sell everything for pennies on the dollar. They take most of it in fees for doing it, and the rest goes to the state. Now, I knew a company that got sold off like that, and believe me, there was nothing left. Nothing left. Blew it out to the bare walls.
Well, there was a guy used to be in the Bay Area.
A receiver, that's what it's
Do
called, a
that with
receiver.
jewelry stores.
He was the receiver for jewelry stores?
Yeah, he would go in and bust out jewelry stores. And
It's
he did it.
ugly.
Yeah, I mean, I used to be the guy that sold them his advertising. Because they'd always run those, 50 ads on the weekend. Come
Now's the
to the
time.
14 Carats Jewelers. Boom, boom, boom. Prices will never be better. Boom, boom, boom.
Everything must go.
Everything must go by Sunday at 9. But that was his thing, is he would go, just busting out jewelry stores.
They call them
And,
receivers, but they're more takers than receivers. They take the whole thing apart.
well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of their thing.
That's their thing.
Is they're there to. I mean, obviously they're there to make money. At that stage of the game, no reasonable offer is refused.
It's true.
Nobody goes home empty-handed. If you see a guy walking home that's got actual money in his pocket,
You want a big conference table with no chairs because they sold the chairs? It's yours.
yeah. You want to buy the chairs? You want to buy the cases? I mean, where do you think all those people get those the rotating cases? When you push the button and the stuff rolls, the guy's got his baseball cards on him or something. That's where they get them from.
That's where he got them.
$50 sale at the former home of the 14 Carat Jewelers. Now,
in Daly City and Saramonte.
Yes, you can. Who else? There was another store that was always running. Was it Matthews in Daly City? It was always running some kind of
Top of the old Daly City,
sale.
Blowing it out to the bare walls.
There was a stereo store that used to be on the main office was top of the hill Daly City Matthews. I'm sure
Right.
you remember them.
I
And
do.
it seemed like they were busting out stores every week. I mean, they would actually buy stores and sell them. If you
Sell
were,
off the assets, rent out the show, and be on your way.
yeah. Um, and it was hard for people to understand what was going on, but that these guys weren't. They were businessmen, but they were businessmen in that they were just liquidating things. They
Yeah.
had no business in being in, no intention of being in the retail business whatsoever.
They didn't want to be in retail.
They
They
didn't
wanted to be
like
in
dealing
bust
with
out.
people.
No.
One of the guys used to tell me, I hate dealing with people. But as long as they paid cash on the barrelhead,
He dealt with you. Did he pay cash? I bet he did.
they were on cash. Yep, everything had to be paid before it ran because
Well,
they
your
did
sales manager loved you. Here comes Vinny, and he's got cash.
got cash. Yeah, in those days that was exactly the MO. Is you showed up and you had cash and you were good. It's a beautiful thing.
Didn't they want to go over the copy a couple more times?
No, the copy was the same copy for every store. It really was. I mean, they had one ad that they used, and they were basically just changing the address and the phone number and the directions. Everything else was the same.
That's my kind of client.
Well, it was good, and it brought people in. They knew what they had to say to get people in. They knew it was about one thing and one thing only: price, price, and price. They weren't bringing people in because they were good looking. They weren't bringing people in because they had a lower price than anybody else. This was their price. This was what they were liquidating it for. You either came in and you wanted it, or you came in and you didn't want it. It was that simple.
Next case.
Yeah. And they did, like I said, they did mostly small stereo and jewelry stores, but they also did some. They busted out a meat market once. They were
Holy moly.
they were selling the butcher block.
Well, that's a valuable piece
Which you know what, I actually at the time considered buying it.
for your own kitchen.
Yeah, it's a nice heavy piece of wood. I mean, not that I did a ton of butchering,
No, it'd be more of a
but
prep table.
yeah,
Chopping,
but it was a
chopping
cool little
area.
table, and it really, I don't know, I put it in the kitchen, it looked good.
Now, I know Satriales has got busted out and they're selling those butcher blocks, but I'm warning you against buying that one. Get another one, go to a different place. Uh,
Why is
Pat,
that?
it was used not only for butchering consumables.
Yeah, I would say if you did a DNA test on it, that you'd be
You'd
doing
be, sup-
blood,
you'd, be, be
human
sup-
blood as well as pig blood.
you'd be surprised how many people would turn up.
Hey, there's Uncle Junior.
Oh, Junior, what a
Oh, Uncle
character!
Junior. He didn't do. He was a funny character, but he was also pretty twisted.
He was not reliable. He was irascible.
He was somebody that you didn't want to depend. If somebody was going to walk out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you had to cover him with Junior for from 3 until 5, which any hitman will tell you.
That's the time
Uh,
of day.
it's just not. You're not supposed to be there that long.
Right.
It's supposed to be a thing where you get out of the car, you walk up, boom, 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 you get back in the car and you go.
Period.
That's it. That's all.
That's all I'm saying, and that's all it takes.
Anybody who's a real guy, real made guy, a real
Is efficient.
mafia guy is never going to tell you. First of all, they're never going to tell you they're in the mafia. The minute somebody tells you they're in the mafia,
They ain't.
you could bet that they're not in the mafia. Made guys don't advertise it. It's a very simple equation.
Those who know don't tell. Those who tell don't know.
Well, yeah, it always makes me laugh when I hear people say, "Oh, my friend's boyfriend said he's in the mafia." Blah, 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 blah. He's and I'm saying to myself, if the guy was really in the mafia, he would never tell you.
In fact, that'd be the first thing he wouldn't tell you.
Yeah, there would never be a time where that guy said to you, "I got a little something I want to tell you. I didn't tell you this before, but I'm going to tell you now. I'm in the mob."
No.
Don't work like that. But
Don't ask me about my business. Is the standard response.
Yeah, the wannabes though, they'll tell you all day, all night. Especially if they sense.
That's a dangerous position to take, saying you are when you aren't.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I don't know. It could be very dangerous to your health.
Are you sitting in that $80,000 pickup, the Canyon?
Yes, I am.
You still love it?
I love this truck. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see if I can do a little tour of the canyon.
Let's take a look. See if we can see what we can.
See if this will work. I don't know how that works, but that's
There's your computer.
Yeah, this is the interior of the canyon. And what I like about it is that it's all textured and laid out, and it's really sharp looking vehicle. On the inside, the interior, it was funny that the guys at the valet parking here at the show, at the event, were talking to me about it. They said, "Wow, it's really impressive. I never knew that Chevy did an interior that nice."
Have they done it that way before? Or is this a new
say
effort?
Again, I'm sorry.
Have they done that type of interior before, or is this a new effort?
Well, I think this is better than most of the interiors they've done. It's not quite a luxury interior, but it's about knocking on the door.
Knocking on the door of luxury with the Canyon GMC.
Yeah, this truck is built. This truck is built, Michael, predominantly for people that want to go off road. And in the old days, off road meant there was a couple of door panels, a window crank. Nothing like a sunroof or air conditioning or anything like that. And over the stretch of time, they've really changed things around to where you look at some of the things that are on this truck, and you start to find some really interesting accessories, I guess, that raise it so much further over what you would think would be a base truck. It's almost like the base truck is dead. Yeah. Nobody buys a base truck anymore.
Has the Canyon got a hot spot in it?
That's what we're talking on right now.
Yeah, baby.
Which means you can do your show from literally anywhere in the United States.
Anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. And I think it sounds like it's working great from here.
Oh yeah, perfectly. I would think you were at home in Seattle.
Yeah, there goes that yellow Mercedes again. I don't know if we can get a.
What's the number on that Mercedes? Is it like the 280 or the 580?
I think it's the 4. I have to
420.
look. It flew by me and I forgot. I have so many numbers in my head. But let's take a look here and see what.
A two-seater.
Oh yeah, two-seater with the convertible's top and where is. Well, I'll tell you, I gotta go get an eye examination, man. It is the no, that's the EQE SUV. It's the SL63 Roadster.
Oh, the
AMG
63.
SL63.
I've loved their
It is an
63
incredible
sedan.
car. It has just a ton of options in it. Let's see. Let me read you some of the options here because it's in sun yellow with black leather interior,
Yeah.
carbon fiber trim, ceramic braking system, an aerodynamics package, performance steering wheel, extended night package.
What do you think a performance steering wheel is?
Beats the piss out of me, man.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, one steering wheel turns. What does the performance steering wheel do? Sing Broadway show tunes to you while it's turning?
I hope not. I hate to be steering around LA listening to Cats.
It's got $1,300 gas guzzler tax. Destination and delivery, $1,050. The total retail price on this 16 mile per gallon,
Whoa.
16 miles per gallon enjoyment ride.
They put a very thirsty engine in that baby.
Yeah. Oh no, it flies. Sticker price on this car is $206,285.
The 63. Wow. Now I've seen the 63 on major sedans. They're big four-door loads of Mercedes, but
Yeah, this
not a
one they stuff
two-seater.
it into a smaller but yet equally impressive
I
uh,
see.
Mercedes. It's a movie star car. When you get to be a movie star, this is what you buy, or have a good television series.
Or maybe you're a writer for the Writers Guild of America. You bought it just before the strike. Now you're trying to pay for it.
Yeah. Wow. So many people's lives are screwed up, even with the settlement of the strike. It's how long is it going to take those people to recover from the money they've lost?
It's going to take a while because they were out 145 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, there's a lot of unhappy people. Happy to be going back to work, but unhappy that they got a deal from the union that I mean it's hard for me to believe that they couldn't get this deal done 70 days ago.
Well, that, of course, Vinny, is the irony of this whole thing. They could have. There was no financial advantage for the studios to take the position that they did. And they took it anyway. And they said terrible things. And they made a lot of bridges burn. And it got personal. So that could have all been avoided.
Well, Mike, as you well know, this business of ours, this thing of ours, this you know, acting, radio, and a show business. I like to lump it all into one big thing. A lot of times, even though
People who make something out of nothing. Yeah.
um, usually you can usually you can find if you want to keep the person working for you, you can keep the person around and without too much of an interruption. But time and time again, we have seen a number of these situations where the people that are spending the money, that are employing people, the employers, want to teach the other side a lesson, and they're willing to sacrifice to do it because they know that these are demand jobs.
Because giving in would be wrong. Making a settlement would be wrong. Making a deal would be wrong. Time to teach them a lesson.
Right. And if we give it to you, then we got to give it to the other guy, and then we got to give it to the other guy, and then we got to give it. And next thing you know, we're paying people living wages for jobs that they would do for free.
They would do under any conditions.
How many radio stations in the country, how many theater groups have volunteers that would be happy to go out there and work for nothing?
If they get
just so they can get their mug in the paper.
Yep.
These producers and companies are hip to all of this stuff. This is nothing new, and you're probably not going to get anybody to go on. It's just going to get to a point where you're standing out there like buck naked. So I don't blame the actors and the writers. I don't know if the actors settled yet.
Nope, they're still out.
They're still out, but now it's really senseless for them to be out.
They're stuck in solidarity, and then now they're the ones without a deal.
Yeah, exactly. They went out to kind of force the issue for their union brothers and sisters, and now they're all going to go back to work, and now the actors are sitting there with their hands on their butt.
Waiting for the next season of Yellowstone.
Yeah. Speaking about Yellowstone, have you? I've never watched it, but I now see that it's on CBS.
They have there's 5 seasons, and they're starting over with season 1 on CBS. They're about 3 weeks into it. So it's a fascinating show. It's pretty dark sometimes.
Yeah, that's gonna bring people who are too cheap to stream it on Paramount Plus.
Yep.
Into their fold, huh?
Yep. And it leaves the people who bought Paramount Plus without their number 1 product, because now it's available for free.
That does kind of suck, doesn't it?
And Kevin Costner made he as they say in Variety, he ankled the show, and now they're gonna, if they want to continue, they're gonna have to kill him off or figure out what to do with him to push on with the cast without him.
Because he's decided he doesn't want to do the show anymore.
He's had disagreements over scheduling and other projects with the producer. He never thought it was going to go 6 seasons, is what he means, and he made plans.
Well, that's interesting. That is, see, that's the kind of job you want. You make your own decision about, do I still want to work or do I not want to work after 5 years?
That's right. It's a great cast. I think you'd enjoy the show, but it's not a happy-go-lucky romp through the Montana woods.
Yes, yeah, and I haven't seen one, but what I've seen of it and some of the different clips that I've seen, I really kind of like it.
Oh yeah, it's very compelling.
So I'll have to check in, maybe catch up those 4 episodes that I missed and see. I need something to get hooked on. I'm not hooked on any television at the moment.
It might hook you.
I need that one show that will kind of move me back into my television watching habits. Because all I watch now is YouTube.
That's all right.
I mean, I learn a lot. I feel educated every time I watch YouTube.
Have you watched Our Mr. Sun recently?
No, what have I watched? What did I watch on YouTube lately? I watched a couple of Jack Benny's. Um, watched something strange. Oh, you know what I watched? Mr. Peepers.
Oh God, Wally
Remember
Cox.
Mr. Peepers? Wally Cox.
Yes, and he was a teacher, right?
Yes, with big glasses, and it was actually, it wasn't. I it it pales in comparison to what you see today.
It's amazing
But
how flimsy some of the writing was in those days.
oh yeah, yeah. There's some sad stuff that goes on, and you think back to when you watched it, and you probably thought it was oh so good. And
But it
I would have
wasn't.
loved to have been a part of that. It looks like it was, when I look at movies like My Favorite Year and the Dick Van Dyke Show and
Right.
series that come out of that time period in television. It just always looks like they were having fun to me. That they were having fun and they were working too,
Oh, they
obviously.
were working.
But it always seems like they were having fun. Yeah, it just always seemed like they were, that's what they were born to do.
I wonder if in the Jack Benny show, did he used to do his open and closes in front of a big curtain?
Yes,
I always wondered if he was in a theater where they shot it, or it was just a curtain hanging behind him in a studio.
boy, that's a good question. Well, see, I thought a lot of his stuff was actually shot on the lot. That they seemed to have a lot of exteriors in what he was doing. It wasn't always, inside. Where
Interior.
Burns and Allen, if you watch them, once you get past the opening of the show,
You
everything
don't go.
kind of moves into the living room.
You don't go outside again. And they also had conversations on the patio or outside on the deck,
Right, right, and everything stays.
which was obviously not outside.
I remember when I was a kid, I used to watch the jars of stuff on the shelves.
Change.
No, no, no. To see if it was more like if you had 1 week and there was more, and then you came back the next week and there was still even more in there. You know that they shot them out of sequence or something,
Ah, yes.
and nobody just the proper.
Well, we're stuck again. Vinny's doing a remote today from Washington, right where Washington meets Oregon, in Richland, Oregon, Richland, Washington. He's doing a car show down there, and we're running on the hotspot in his Canyon GMC truck. I don't know if we're gonna. There, you're back,
Here I am. I'm back again. It this truck has the suicide switch.
and where is it located?
Well, I don't know exactly where it is, but it's somewhere in a starting relay. And if you leave the car running for more than like 35 or 40 minutes,
It turns on.
there's a circuit that automatically takes over and prevents you from driving the car.
Wow,
Prevents you from leaving the car running, not driving the car, leaving it running.
it turns itself off.
Turns itself off. So this way, uh, it makes it fairly hard to go in and leave the engine running in the garage and kill yourself, which is,
Which is
it's
that's a
something that
negative.
probably has saved a few lives.
People who fall asleep with the car running.
Well, at one time in this nation, it was a popular thing to get in the car and leave the engine running.
Popular way to check out.
Yeah, popular way to say goodbye. What was the movie that featured that? A Star Is Born, the remake.
Yeah. With Chris
Although I probably
Christopherson and Barbara Streisand.
no, the one with Lady Gaga
Oh, okay. The
and
remake.
the country star. Although I want to call for a new rule. Once a movie is 2 years old, you don't have to be careful about saying the ending of it anymore. Because we always talk about movies and say, oh, I don't know, should I say that? Oh my God, you're stressed that you're going to tell somebody who hasn't seen the end of the movie. Well, to be honest with you, if you haven't seen it in 2 years, chances are you're probably not going to see it, right?
Plus, I taped the Oregon Colorado game, and I was going to watch it. And my daughter looked at the score and went, and I said, "Never mind. I don't have to see the game." I could tell by the look on her face that it was a mess, and so it was. So I saved myself all that viewing time and all that consternation.
Boy, I tell you what is a beautiful little car, Michael, that just ran by. Lexus has a what is it? I'm trying to think of the Lexus comes before Lucid, if I'm not mistaken. And you'll have to excuse me here for a second.
Okay, hunt for it.
I'm trying to oh Lord, I'm trying to work with
With the alphabet.
tough mind today. This is the where is the model? 2023 luxury all-wheel drive. What type of model is it? Well, anyway, it's a small SUV, $67,270, and it is a sharp-looking car.
I like Lexus.
Yeah, very good-looking car. Yeah, 67,270, which is a good, I think a good price for that car. And it's one of those vehicles that, a Lexus, you can't beat the vehicles. It's got the 220-volt charging, 240-volt charging system.
So you can plug it into the garage.
Plug it into the dryer. You can unplug your dryer and plug in your Lexus.
That's what I do. That's what I do every day.
Do you plug in your... There's no exhaust pipe in this thing, Michael. Don't get in trouble.
I wondered if once I was plugging in my dryer into 220 and it arced out of the plug and into my wrist, sent me careening down the hallway. I'll never forget that. I was ringing and I was ringing and buzzing. I was in my 30s. I landed hard, but I got over it.
I did that when I was
it was the buzzy wiggly feeling I had that I couldn't quite get rid of for a while.
Oh yeah. I did that when I was like 6 years old, something like that, 5 years old. And I'm still shaky when I plug things in.
Oh God. I never thought that it could work like that.
I took a key and stuck it in the receptacle, the plug.
For 220?
And once flying across the room, my mother seriously thought I was dead. It was still to this day probably the scariest thing that ever happened to me.
Wow.
You don't forget it.
No, you don't.
You just don't forget it. And nowadays, if I to this day, I get a little shake when I go to plug in.
220 is no fool.
Anything, the toaster. Although I did that once too. I
Put a
stuck
key in
a
the
knife
toaster.
in the toaster side.
Before or after the key?
This was after the key. I wasn't
So
quite sold on the idea of electricity yet.
Give me that steak knife and I'll show you something.
How could something that's so good do something so bad to you?
There's no answer to that question, unfortunately.
Who knew? But
Well,
it
Vinny,
was,
have yourself a great day in Southern Washington. You're almost in Oregon.
yeah, almost. I could go down and take care of the of some shopping in Oregon and not pay tax. But I think the trick here, and the sun is just about to come out. I think the trick here, Mikey, is to get on the freeway as soon as this thing is over and hustle my butt right back to Seattle
That's the conservative, well-intentioned thing to do.
and watch the debate tonight to see what.
I would watch the debate, except I can't stand the Swami. I just can't bear him. So I don't want him in my psyche until we get to the summation.
Yeah, he's quite a piece of work, man. He's trying to beat Donald Trump.
2-0.
Yeah, he's just really bent on the idea of being Trump's replacement. And listen, it doesn't. I mean, the idea that he might actually wind up being that hasn't gotten past me. That he might be the guy to eventually pay him, but it wouldn't be as much fun for Trump if Trump can't bust your balls himself.
Then he doesn't want you around. You can't be in the club.
Yeah, he doesn't want somebody else busting your balls. He wants to bust them.
Then they're gonna if they sell off everything and they dissolve the whole company, that means they get to sell the Trump Tower sign. That's going to go for
That's going to be big money.
Because it's got to come down.
Although there is another Trump Tower sign that I don't know if you could buy it, but I know where it is.
Where is it?
There was an ill-fated project that Trump did on the West Side, and he cut a deal with the railroad.
Oh, the old
Amtrak.
The old railroad yards on the West Side.
The old railroad yards on the West Side from 59th Street up
To 70th.
Yeah, to like 70th, right? And at the last minute, for some reason, the whole deal fell apart.
Might have had something to do with money.
Probably. But they got like halfway through it or a quarter of the way through it. But they had a large neon sign that said, "Coming soon, Trump Tower." Now, maybe they decided that they didn't want him to put his name on it, or I don't know what happened. But I do know that at some point, when you drive down the West Side Highway, they're in big letters in one of the backyards of one of those buildings where the railroad tracks kind of go and cross each other. There's a bunch of, in many different sizes, Trump Tower signs. So you could have one if you want one.
I look forward to the day when I don't see his face, I don't hear his name, and I would no longer hear his voice.
Mikey. This guy was the president of the United States.
That's another reason I don't want to hear his voice.
Oh my God, what a
Have a, have a,
turn!
have a safe trip home, Ben.
All right, Mikey, I'll catch up with you Friday morning if the Lord's willing. The creek don't rise.
It'll be a Freaky Friday, that's for damn sure.
It sure will be. All right, man. I'll talk to you on Friday.
That'll be it. Have a good drive.
All right, thanks, Mikey.
See you
Take care of
then.
yourself. Peace, love, and Manischewitz.